Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and set up the center legs for they'll accept this rod, if we can put it across there. Go ahead and pull your two legs that you have left and set them up. You're going to want a drill bit that's quite a bit smaller than the rod actually. It's kind of going to act like a pilot hole. And then once we drill the pilot hole in here, then we'll go ahead and use a second drill bit that's just slightly larger than this. So your rod will slide through real easy. So the first thing you're going to want to do is mark your legs at 1 inch. Just put a little mark at 1 inch on them. Then try and approximate it right in the center. Now I'm going to drill a hole through each of these at the 1 inch mark, being dead center. I'm trying to keep it as straight as possible. You're only going through 2 inches. Again, I have a level on my drill. It helps me a little bit. Okay, now that I got my hole through there, I'm going to take one of these small 4-inch pieces, and I have it sitting on a couple other 2x2s where it's at the same height, and I'm going to position it right there for it's even on the end. Now I'm going to drill down through this hole, come through the 4-inch piece. That way I know it's aligned with this hole. So it comes through the hole there now. Now I'm going to rotate this. Now I need to put another one underneath here because I'm going to have a 4-inch piece on each end. So take a second one of your 2x2s that's 4 inches long, place it underneath here now again, and go ahead and drill your pilot hole again. Okay, now I have the 3 pilot holes. I'm going to go with the drill bit that's the same size as my rod, which is slightly bigger than my rod actually. And I'm going to go ahead and enlarge these holes that I just drilled. The rod should slide through this pretty easily now, which it does. And now you'll have to figure out which way this was orientated. It's not that way, you can tell it's all off. So, might be this way. Yeah, now it's nice and flush. So that means the other one goes on the other side here. And I would assume it goes that way right there. You can ignore these, that was a mistake from earlier. There. So now the rod will go through all 3 of these just perfectly. I'm going to do the same thing on this other one. Okay, to put on the center legs now, first thing you want to do is measure your top board and go to the halfway mark. In this case I'm 54.5, so I'm going to put a mark at 27.25. So that's the halfway mark. So then you're basically just going to want to take your pole or your elaborate leg that you just drilled the hole in and just center it on that mark now. And make sure the bottom is down flush, and then center it, and then go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now that you have your center leg on, go ahead and put a mark 4 inches from the edge of it to here. Just put it on the inside and you won't see it if you've already stained your bag. And do the same thing on the other side, 4 inches from the outside edge to right here. So this is actually going to be, the outside edge of this is going to be right at that mark. So in between, you're going to have 4 inches between the two poles. And the same thing on this side, and you'll have 4 inches. So at that point there, 4 inches, go ahead and drill a pilot hole on the other side for your support. Put in 1 screw to temporarily hold it right now, because we need to make sure that we have it orientated the right way. What I found is best is go ahead and put the rod through here, and you'll find out whether or not you have it orientated in the right direction. I can tell already that I don't. I actually have it the wrong way. So now it slides through there. So now I need to place the other one there. I need to, because the hole isn't straight. I mean, it's not the same thickness here, so it has to go either that direction or that direction. It's either further away from the edge or closer. So just set it there and see. That's the side that slides on just fine. So that's the way I need to do it. So I'm going to bring it over to the 4-inch mark, which is right there. I can go ahead and drill my pilot hole. I have to put a screw in that. Okay, to do the corners, go ahead and get the rod or whatever you're going to use, whatever type of material you're going to use for your support, and stick it across the corner here. Now you're going to want to measure 5 inches from each corner and put a little mark on the outside edge here. So that's where we're going to go from. That'll be the center of our hole, in the center of our hole, and you see we have enough space here for the straps to go around. So I'll go get the drill and we'll mark the point where we want to enter down here, and we'll drill one side and then the other. Okay, now that you've marked your sides 5 inches in from each side, we have to measure mark the depth, how far down this board we want to go. Go ahead and mark these at 1 3/4 inches. Put a little dot there. Do the same thing on this other one. Go down 1 3/4, just under 2, and put a dot. Now the reason these are deeper than the center ones is the way the straps hold. The straps on the center are going almost straight down, so they actually need to be taller for they can be at the same height, where the straps on the corners actually go kind of horizontal. So by bringing this down almost an inch further, it'll help level the bag out. The best way to drill these is just go straight on that dot that you put down 1 3/4 inches, and go straight into the board just a little bit, just to make a little tiny little hole inward. Then once you have that, you need to drill it the same angle as this. So if I put this across and I put this, and again I have a level on my drill, so right about there. Larger drill bit and enlarge it to the size of my rod. That looks about right. Okay, now a trick I do on this now, it's difficult if you have it over here to try and drill to match this. So I happen to have like a 14-inch Now an easier way to drill this rather than trying to match this point is I happen to have a long drill bit, and you can buy like a 12-inch one from Lowe's or Home Depot for about $6, and I'd recommend doing it because it makes this a lot more accurate. So what I'm going to do now is just put this drill bit on, and if I go through the existing hole here, I can line right up and it came out right at my little mark there. Now I'm going to go to the other side and go ahead and enlarge it a little bit. I'll have to touch up the stain, of course, when I get done. Let's see how the rod goes through. See there? I need to enlarge that just a little bit more. On the bottom. There. Perfect. Now this one's lower by about 3/4 of an inch than the other one, but when we hang the bag it should help level it out. So I'm going to go ahead and go around and do the other 3 corners. Okay, so this is the stand with all the support rods installed. You can see the corner ones are down a little bit lower, and then the center ones are actually up just a little bit higher, about a 1 inch higher almost. Okay, so this is the Mammoth installed on the stand. Another option, if you don't want to go through all the effort to doing the rods, because it is a little bit difficult to do, it makes for a really nice system, but is you can get some 3/4 inch stock. I think this is mahogany, so it's real strong, and you can just place that across these corners, and since it's flat it doesn't want to rotate, and then just drill a couple holes into each corner. You can put these also on the centerpiece as well. Just put them across the three like that. The only thing you'll notice on here is that the center of the bag will be about a 3/4 of an inch higher than the outside edges, but it's really not all that noticeable. This is a much easier way of doing it. You could also just notch each of these a little bit just for this sits down. That's another possibility. But so there's a lot of different ways of doing it. The way I showed you to do is the rods. I like that. It looks really nice. But you know, again, there's probably 100 different ways you could do this. It's Tom from VermiBag. Ciao.